So life in Lincoln is so much easier than you would ever expect. And I'm just going to tell you about a few of the ways that I've definitely noticed and that you would also notice once you get moved here as well. Not only will you notice it, but you're going to appreciate it once you've made your move and live in Lincoln for a while. So I want you to first imagine a Saturday night in a major metro. So let's say you've got dinner reservations at 7. Okay, you leave your house at 5:45 because in a place like Chicago or Dallas, time is like a hallucination. You'll spend 40 minutes in traffic in a crawl, white-knuckling the steering wheel, wondering when things are gonna move. You finally get to the neighborhood, and then the trick begins, the search for a spot. So you'll circle for 20 minutes, not find one, you find a garage or surface parking. You pay $30 up front, walk 6 blocks to a restaurant. By the time the appetizer hits the table, you aren't out for dinner, you're recovering from a strategic and tactical mission, right? But now let's look at my Saturday night here in Lincoln. So I leave my house at 6:40. I'm gonna drive up 17th Street. We've got an easy to follow grid in this town. And I pull into a city-owned garage. I take the pass for the parking. It's clean there, it's lit, and here's a digital mayor secret that'll break your brain when you move here. First hour in city parking garages is free. You're in, you're out, you spend $0 and 0 mental energy. So you walk half a block to the restaurant, maybe a block, then you actually have back your brain power to enjoy the person sitting across from you. So, well, today we're talking about why Lincoln feels easier than you expected. And it's not just a smaller population, it's a design for flow over friction. And if you're tired of wearing that urban armor just to go to the grocery store, well, this is a video for you. First of all, I'll tell you a little bit about the 15-minute rule. And it's unofficial, but here in Lincoln, it's real. The 15-minute city is a theoretical urban planning concept, but in Lincoln, it's just like any other day. The lived reality is that travel in this town is not a stressful calculation. It's like a 15 to 20-minute hop. Whether you're crossing from, newer builds out east by 84th to 104th Street, or you're headed towards the stadium for a Husker game, your windshield time is going to be minimal. You're not checking Google Maps to see if a 3-mile drive is going to take you 40 minutes. You just get in the car and go. And I personally always just think, it's going to be 15 minutes. But in a giant city, in a metro, you develop that calculation fatigue. You got to say no to things. No to that new coffee shop, no to seeing a friend, because that tax of the commute is just too high. You're wearing that urban armor also. You're bracing for red lights, lane switchers, and the gridlock. In Lincoln, that armor comes off. You move from calculating traffic to just driving. I will say, though, you do want to look out for the Lincoln turn, and I might tell you a little bit about that as you're going from your turning lane to share it with someone else. So anyway, everyone here looks at a map and says 27th, 56th, 70th Street. Okay, I'll follow that grid. Well, don't do that. That's what that's what visitors do. So if you want to move like a local, embrace some of our diagonals. So for example, Sheridan Boulevard, Normal Boulevard, or my personal favorite, Cotner Boulevard, which will take you all the way from South Street and then all the way to the north edge of town where you're just a few short turns from the interstate. That is, if you don't stop at Mahoney Park first. We'll cover the Lincoln Park system another time, don't you worry. But while the rest of the world is sitting at a stoplight on a main numbered street, the diagonals allow you to move easily across the city's heart. Feels like a cheat code. You're weaving through some beautiful tree-lined neighborhoods while grid sitters are staring at brake lights. So one of the biggest shocks for people relocating from the coasts isn't the weather, it's also how fast you can get stuff done here. So the lived reality is that in Lincoln, we have kind of what I call like the Handshake bureaucracy. It's super convenient. So like the state office building downtown or the city county building. In a big city, those buildings are like a war of attrition. You gotta pack a lunch, you bring a charger, you prepare to be treated like a number in a system that just is working against you, right? But in Lincoln, that state office building is efficient. It's got actually even a post office inside it. You can walk in, handle your business, mail your documents, and be back in your car even before your first hour free garage pass expires. So, and nearby the state capitol, it's an amazing architectural gem, all of its own, but you can walk right in without even having to go through a metal detector. It's the people's house, people's state house. You can go visit your state legislator's office without an appointment, just walk right in. Of course, you might be inclined to stop and look around at how beautiful our state capitol is, and maybe on your way out, you could pick up one of the free tours that happens every day right on the hour. Also, when you leave, if you're lucky, you might even see Cameron, the Capitol Cat. He's our unofficial mascot, and everybody loves him. So, well, think about your current DMV experience, for example. Is it a drive-through? Probably not. Here, our standalone DMVs have drive-through lanes for renewals. And let's even mention utilities. LES, Lincoln Electric System, isn't just some big faceless monolithic entity that ignores your calls. It's really accessible, customer service is friendly, they answer quickly, and because of the way it's set up as a public utility, we have some of the most affordable electricity rates in the country for a city our size. So if you need to get city official stuff done, head to the city-county building, and here's the tip, there's free parking right there. You don't have to pay to go pay your taxes or do other business there. It's a signal from the city that says, we know you're here, we're glad you're here, we want you to be here, and come take care of business and move on. So what happens to your brain when you aren't fighting for a parking spot or a reservation? Well, you get what I call the mental margin dividend. So the lived reality is, you know, I see it in the eyes of people that I've helped relocate before, and when they first arrive, they can't believe it. They're looking for the catch. They're waiting for the person at the counter to be rude or traffic to turn into a nightmare. Just doesn't really happen here. After 3 months, that kind of softens. You might start to linger. You'll see it in any of the shared spaces around town. People aren't looking at their watches. They aren't worried about, you know, their parking meter or the next thing. So living in a high friction city can put you in survival mode. Your brain is scanning for things going on. Where's the nearest exit? Can I get a table? Will I be late for my meeting because of a jam traffic or a stalled car on the expressway? You're not gonna have that low level cortisol spike here that never goes away. Lincoln is gonna take you from survival mode to living mode. So when that big city friction disappears, that margin disappears too. You can show up to Stransky Park with the energy left in the tank. You'll show up to dinner with your spouse, and you actually have something to talk about other than how intense the drive was. We aren't perfect. Lincoln is spread out because we have the room, but we're smart about those release valves, I guess. So the South Beltway is finally open, and it's a game changer for moving heavy traffic around the edges. It took all the Nebraska Highway 2 semi-traffic that went through town and moved it outside. The Rosa Parks Expressway, that also eases congestion. Nebraska Highway 2, you know, there's so many ways to get around town easily. You might want to ask me, Ryan, if it's so easy, is it boring? Well, easy doesn't mean boring. Easy means you have the time for people, places, and things that actually matter. So it's like we have this social contract called the Lincoln Linger. It's those extra 15 minutes you can spend talking to your neighbor on the sidewalk because you aren't rushing to beat a traffic window. It's a second cup of coffee you grab because you know the drive home is only 10 or 15, maybe 20 minutes. And so in the hostile hustle of a big city, time is a currency that you're constantly spending just to exist and get by. But in Lincoln, your time is an investment that you get to keep. You aren't spending an hour on the 405 or the I-90. You are investing that hour into your health, your hobbies, your family. So if you're moving here and you're worried about getting lost, remember the grip. The numbers go bigger from the streets. From downtown, like 9th and 10th Street, they go bigger as you go east. Downtown is a logical square, it's walkable. If you're not a garage person, you can pay your parking meter on an app. No quarters, no stress, just, you know, pay on your app and go. Also, Sundays, we don't charge for meters. A few of those nice things really add up. Lincoln is not just a place on a map. It really brings you a strategy for a better life, a realization that you don't have to work extra hard just to exist in your city. Maybe you're listening to this on your commute in a city in traffic right now and it's draining your own battery. But I want you to know it doesn't have to be this way. You can have your brain back. I'm Ryan Downing. I'm building a community for people who want to trade friction for flow. It's like my digital mayor campaign of Lincoln, Nebraska. The goal is simple, just to show you the unvarnished truth about what it's like to live, work, and thrive in Lincoln, Nebraska. So join this campaign if you want. Subscribe. I drop new city intelligent videos every week to help you navigate your relocation. And if you're a local, what is your Lincoln Linger story, or what is your shortcut or life hack to help you get around to places where you want to go? What's that one place in town where you always find yourself staying 20 minutes longer than planned? If you're ready to stop the hostile hustle and start your relocation, my info's in the description, because life is better when it's easy, and I will see you at the next stop.